I am Zamantungwa, music editor, a techie, a sister, lover, friend, and overall amazing diva darling. And this is my truth.
Thank you, Zama, for joining us. Welcome to I Am. Tell me your story.
Yes, let's get into it. Okay, so Zamantungwa Khumalo was born Kwandengezi, Bitoli, aka 704, because the reason why I say that is because when you dial in our number, it starts with 704. So that's the number that's how the lingo where it came from. And I grew up as an only child. My mother and father, both of my parents are teachers. And they've always, the funny thing is that when it came to teaching, education has always played such a huge role in our family, because it wasn't just only us. It literally was just the rest of my family, my aunts, my uncles, my grannies. A lot of them were teachers. So obviously it's sort of like filtered down to also my parents as well. And they've always asked me, Zama, do you not want to be a teacher? I'm like, the way I would just slap children because they teach high school students. And I'm just like, I'm not really, but I wouldn't, the funny thing is, I love motivating people. And that's the one thing that I think I'm always good at. I love motivating people, and I love making people laugh. And I've always tried to do that within my life. We would see whenever a person is feeling down, whether it be a stranger or whether it be a friend, I've always tried to make people laugh. And at one time in my life, I actually wanted to be a comedian, but I was just like, woo, no. I'ma just revert back because wow, people are just like, your jokes ain't funny. And there was actually quite an interesting topic of this. We would say, why is it that women in SA do not try comedy? Because we don't see a lot of female comedians. I know we're going a bit off topic, but it's actually quite a thing that we need to think about. And someone on Twitter was just like, no, it's because SA women aren't funny. But the funny thing is, half of the humor that men speak about is basically on women, So I've always felt good. I'd rather be that type of person that would work behind the scenes in terms of everything and try to make people laugh in the best way that I can and everything like that. So basically, just to bring it back to my parents and my upbringing, grew up with my parents. I grew up as an only child, and I grew up in a township whereby a lot of people question your identity. And that always happens especially as a black person. I see the other races, but especially as a black person, especially because we just come from, apartheid, and now we're just into a new whole democracy, and everyone's just freaking confused. We would say, what is it that you need to do, And when I was growing up, I really didn't go out that much in my high schooling career. But in my high schooling life, I didn't go out much. In my primary life, I didn't go out much. It was only after high school I started going out. And people are like, hey, Zama, you live here, you still live here, you were so quiet and everything like that. And the thing was, because I grew up speaking predominantly English, a lot of people would call me a coconut, So now it's quite a difficult thing because, number one, I have parents who are just especially a mother, because I'm very, very close with my mother, and my mother she is my gem, she is my queen, she's my everything. She made damn sure Uguti, at the end of the day, I'm going to make sure Uguti Nganyam is gone through schooling and she will make something out of herself. And I will always be so grateful for her for that, because no matter how much people would, say, Uguti, nah, you shouldn't be taking your child to the school, or shouldn't be doing this, doing Nganyam, and all that jazz. And we know Vele, Abantu Bayakhuluma and what have you, but she still persevered through all of that, and she made sure, Uguti, no matter what, Uzambu will cross the finish line, and she'll make sure Uguti she gets to where she needs to be in Bilweneaki. So again, back to what I was saying, Uguti, it was quite a difficult thing, because one, you're living in a township. Already within that, people are like, why are you speaking English? What are you trying to do? All that jazz. So already with that type of thing, it's you and now you sort of have to like catch yourself. I have to make sure when I get out of school, I have to speak English, or I have to go back to my home language and whatever, and try to make people understand me. Because the one thing that I've seen that us as black people we tend to do, we tend to judge each other so hard. If it's not the school you've been to, it's the way you speak. If it's not the way you speak, it's the way you dress. If it's not the way you dress, it's the area you live in, you know. So we break each other so hard, and that was quite a difficult thing that I had to sort of try to fix, but try to overcome in my life, because not a lot of people understood my journey. Not a lot of people understood me. Obviously, I understood myself, but a lot of people were just like, the hell, what's wrong with you? And everything like that. But there were also friends who understood where I was also coming from. I was very lucky in the sense that I also had friends who also would understand where I'm coming from, my journey and everything like that. And funny enough, I would also, you know, those malume cars where after school you would go with the malume and everything like that. I would be in that, you know. And I remember this one time where, because I went to St. Benedict's. So St. Benedict's was a private Christian school, and some of the parents had like nice fancy cars and whatever. And I remember this one time, his name is and I remember he came in this car. It was like a Toyota, and the thing was, like, I remember I was with my group of friends, and he came. And can I tell you that the car itself was in 3 colors? You know, the chocolate, vanilla, and strawberry. That's literally what the car looked like. It was pink, white, and brown. And my friends were like, Zama, isn't that? I'm like, no, I don't know what you're on about. No, I don't know what you're on about. And yeah, man, that was schooling. But in the same token, you know, there was, like I said, that was me living in the hood and everything like that. I still live there, and I will never ever be like, nah, I don't know what you're talking about. I live in Westville, so I don't live there, or even Hillcrest, because Hillcrest is not too far away from what Ding is. So I'm not like, no, I live. Sorry?
You're not gonna round off.
No, I'm not gonna round off and say I live in Hillcrest, you know, but I live in Kwandingis will always be a part of me. The hood will always be a part of me. I party there, I've lived there, I've had friends there, and I'm very grateful for the way that I grew up. So in terms of schooling, yes, there was that, like I said, there was that aspect. We would say, okay, people would question my identity and whatever, but I don't want to got over it. But growing up in a Christian school, yo guys, so the one thing I love doing, and my friends know that I tend to do this, is that I love singing. So I'd be like, if we speak a sentence or whatever, I'd be like, yes, I feel you, I love all of this and all that jazz. So, like I said before, we would say, people would question you. They would question your identity. They would question, we would say, are you really black? You know, because when you can be black on the inside, but on the outside, when they see, we would say, now there's this white person acting like a coconut and what have you. You know, you grew up being black and everything like that. There's certain tendencies that we have as black people, but abantu would disbelieve you because, you know, for them it's not good enough. And that's what I experienced quite a lot of in my schooling career, because, you know, there was like a small minority of us as black people. We would be loud and all that jazz, but at the same time, in the same token, they would find a way, we would see, they would, I don't know how to translate this. We would say, when you're not one of us, basically. The identity.
So that is at school.
Yes, that's at school.
Yeah.
So like I said, we would say, yes, I also had those problems, but I was able to handle it. But I also had that type of identity issue as well when it came to school. And even the way that I was speaking is Zulu would also be a bit questionable for them as well. They'd be like, well, we don't understand this. And on top of everything, as you can see, I'm a big voluptuous lady. So for them, I was teased so heavily, like during my high schooling, especially my high schooling, like I was teased a lot about the way that I looked. And that really did take a damper in the way that I was as a person and the way that I grew up. And it did hurt me a lot, because it felt ukuthi like I didn't belong anywhere. There were girls that I grew up with, my schoolmates, ukuthi they were tinier than me, but at the same time I'd feel ukuthi I'm not good enough. I'm not beautiful enough. I'm not worth it and whatever. And on top of that, that's what also the guys had emphasized as well. Because it's one thing to get that from females, but when you get that from guys, especially if maybe there's a guy that you're interested in and he's also interested in you. I'm not saying at St. Benedict's, but even outside of St. Benedict's, it knocks on your self-esteem. You would say, yes, I'm not worth it for this person. You know what I mean? Yes, sir.
I want to ask, did you not get that from family? From when we talk about your uncle, the whole thing, because there was a point where even your family would compete with bodies, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Like, those were the things that you...
You know what, the ironic thing was that my family wasn't like that. Instead, babe ngoma nje bathi nje, hey, type of thing. And that's the opposite effect, that it was like family was more like, no, alright and everything. And always they would always emphasize within the African tradition, when you're big, then you're seen as beautiful and you've got wealth. Whereas in the schooling, type of environments, they would be like, no, not really. Thin as in Wuban, the type of thing. And I remember this one time where it had hurt me so bad. I kept talking to my mom about it, and it hurt her because if you hurt me, you're basically hurting my mom. Yeah, boy. So my mom had phoned up, had told one of her colleagues about the situation, and I was very close to her. And God rest her soul. Her name is Zama. And funny enough, it's like it's in the name. Zama's just awesome and everything like that. And she was this very fabulous and voluptuous woman and everything. And she made sure her appearance was always like on par and what have you. And she phoned me during a time. Do you still remember when Generations did not have an omnibus? So if you missed an episode, that was it. And she phoned me, and she first phoned Uma. And then she said, no, and then my mom phoned me acting as if she didn't know anything, and my aunt Zama said to me, Zama, what's this I'm hearing about the fact that you don't find yourself being beautiful? And I said, no, the thing is like, they're busy taunting me, they're busy saying what's in repel and everything like that. And she's like, why do you allow that? When you look into the mirror, what do you see? I said, no, I see a girl, Jane. She's like, nah, you just don't see a girl. When you only see that girl because you've been told that. Yeah. What is it that you believe? And I was like, yeah, nah. I think would say I'm a very beautiful girl. She's like, Susu think you are a beautiful girl at the end of the day, And from then on, it did kind of change my perception. It was, I must stop devaluing myself to make others comfortable, because at the end of the day, and I must live for them. What is in this lifetime? Who are you living for? If you're going to be listening to other voices, you're basically diminishing your existence to other people. So I was just like, and this is during high school. And during high school, you are confused as hell. Yeah. You don't know what direction you need to take. You don't know yourself. And basically, to be quite honest, in high school, you're a sponge because you're taking in whatever. So that's how it was for me, and that's why I feel till this very day I am such a champion of like plus size ladies. I'm a champion of Bugutsi. When I see a woman doing the most, I'm just like, yes honey, yes okay, and everything like that. And that's also why it feeds onto who I am as well today, the identity that I have today. Uguti, I am a beautiful sexy goddess, and no one's gonna tell me anything, J-Foot, and you can even say, a lot of my friends, and even my mom knows this, who would say, when you say, Zama, you can't wear that, that's short, I will do the exact opposite. I will wear that thing, I will make damn sure I look sexy in it. Yes, you see cellulite, but who doesn't have cellulite in this day and age? You know what I mean? So that from the echoes of that conversation, it really did feed onto me being more braver, being more happier as well. Because you can't be like, oh yes, I am sexy, but you can just be like, ish, yeah, I'm not feeling this sexy. Exactly, I'm sexy, but it doesn't make sense. So yeah, high schooling was nice because like I got along with a lot of people. Along with a lot of people. You know, I was that chatterbox, and I was well known because I made sure, Gucci, I wasn't only just friends with people in my grade. I was also friends with people who were grades below me or even above me as well, and a lot of them still remember me to this very day. There's another guy, his name is Imran, and Imran was like 4 grades above me. But we were cool with one another, and then we resided within the same area. So one thing is, it's not too far from a place called Nakin, and like we basically resided in the same area, and we knew the same people. And recently we just linked up, and he's just like, as with I never knew you had such an awesome personality like this. I will make you my spirit animal because I just love the way that you are. And that's what I mean, Wutsi. They're just people that I was either they were either grades above me or below me, but still they were able to resonate with me to a point where people in my grade were like, wow, a lot of people know you. I'm like, yeah, because I'm cool with them. I feel on vibes. That's another thing that you need to know about me. I'm a person that feeds on vibes. I'm a person that's very spiritual. I'm a person that, if I can feel what your presence is annoying me, I will be like, all right, it's been good, it's been real, I need to bounce. That's it, CJ. So I that's why the people that I'm surrounded by, it's because their vibes are cool, their vibes are amazing, and Nambi, it also brings out a better person out of me, because that's one thing that in this day and age especially we don't dwell a lot on. We don't dwell a lot on the fact, if a person doesn't feel you, hamba. There's no shame in just going and saying, I can't deal with this. I need to bounce, So yeah, there was that. And then Shem, I haven't spoken too much of my dad. So my dad, yeah. Oh, my dad. The funny thing is, my dad grew up in quite a hectic situation. So my mom grew up in Motu. Motu is quite a very rural area, like hectically rural, but she came to like the city to make a better life for herself, and she was very lucky in Woguti. She had people that wanted to, the powers that be made it a way for her to just live a better life and just be better with Izinto. And hence why she emphasized that on me. Would say, Zama, even if I can go away in Klaben, but I want you to know, would say, I've loved you. I want you to know, Guti, you can do better in your life and everything. I've given you all that I can. Now it's up to you to, just do better for yourself. So that was my mom's side. My dad grew up in Clermont, and he grew up, those hostels. He grew up in that, and he used to tell me about such hectic stories that he used to do in order to better himself. And I remember this one distinctive story that he told me. Would say he was once like a gardener in this white man's house, and he basically was like with a group of people, and basically all of them working together, obviously, to make the house look good and what have you. And he said, would say, the way that at that time, obviously because it was during apartheid, Lomlungu had treated them. He basically, like, just to feed them, he would give them that, Lumlung would just give them like a tin of canned beans, and then they would have to see what is it that they can do in order to survive, And it's just things like that where you just like, frick, I can't take life so lightly. I need to appreciate everything that I do, If you're on my WhatsApp, you should know that I always say I'm blessed and grateful. Or if you have me on social media, I always say that I'm blessed and grateful, because it's things like those type of stories where you just like, damn, okay, wow, Umuntu really needs to just thank the powers that be for everything that they've had, And my dad, the funny thing is, like, we share the same personalities. So my dad, we don't call it extrovert or introvert, we call it ambivert, which is a mixture of both. So my dad and I share like a lot of similarities in gender, and like he's like me. Would say if I need to do work and I need peace and quiet, I'll just go somewhere away from Abantu and I'll just put on music and what have you. And he's exactly the same. Now the thing was, like, my dad used to travel a lot, so there's something called Isatu. I don't know if you guys are familiar with it. Basically, it's like a union for Otisha, and with Satu they used to go away quite a lot, and that's where, like, you know, the separatedness would usually happen, and that's where my mom would come in and make sure, would say, you know, she would do the best that she could for me, and hence why I say, would say my mom was such a rock, because this is the thing that people also need to understand. Just because you have both parents, one can literally be omnipresent and another one can be present in your life. I would say it's like you've got the best of both worlds. Yes, the person is physically present, but emotionally it's a different story. And that's what actually had happened with my dad. You know, I would say he was physically there, but emotionally he wasn't. And my dad has other kids, but I'm not too close with them. I've always said to myself, I would say I'm an only child, and people are like, how can you say that? I'm an only child. What now? What you gonna do? You know? And specifically also as black people, we tend to have this thing, we would say, because you're an only child, should sige sekuphelile ngawe. And that's what happened with my mom. Like, she would always get that thing, would say, you're a failure, you don't have anything. Even I remember this one time, one of my dad's friends even said, would say, she's pretty much useless as a woman because she's only given birth to one child. Whereas they don't realize, would say, my mom had given birth to I was supposed to be a twin, but unfortunately the other twin passed away. So, you know, when you say things like that, it's just like, dude, have a bit more sympathy. And that's why I think also I'm a bit more, I have so much empathy for women, and that's why I hate it so much when we're against what, hence the fierce femme and everything like that. I am a fierce femme, and I get so angry with women, just downing women. It's like, guys, do you realize how much of a struggle we have just as women? We have to deal with period pain. We have to deal with society telling, especially as a black woman, you have to deal with so much. We would say we are the most underrated, undervalued, disgraced, DJ. People disgrace us with their actions and everything like that. And when it's black women on black women, it's like, guys, do you realize, would say, how much you would be so, like, how powerful you guys would be together? But you guys are just busy fighting other people because why? You've heard chatter from other people saying, "What's now? You shouldn't even bother yourself with this other woman." I remember I was watching this one video of Gabriel Union and I think it was Jada Pinkett, if I'm not mistaken. Hollywood had fed them with so much lies. We would say, guys, you know what, Jada said this, and this is what people would say to Gabriel Union, you know what, Jada said this about you, you're not that good and what have you. They would say the same thing to Jada, would say, listen, this is what Gabriel said to you and everything. And when they came together, they were like, yes, I don't hate you. And she's like, we don't hate each other. It's just that we've been fed with so many lies and everything like that. And this is why it's so hard. We would say sometimes we unite as one because we've been fed with so many lies. We would say, no, you're useless and what have you and all that jazz. Kanti honey, black girl excellence. Black girl magic. What about that, honey? What about that, boo? And that's why even now, I think that's why a lot of people are scared of that, even that hashtag or that name, because they're scared of what is it that we can do, you know? And that's why also sometimes it's hurtful when the people that are supposed to protect you, be there for you, keep you safe, are the ones hurting you. And that goes for black men. Black men. Someone even said, what's a black man are the biggest predator to black women. And you find that, you know, you find Woodsy, you just like, are we not appreciated? Are we not enough for you guys? Why do you hate us so much? Why is it that you guys are doing these things towards us? You know, and people are like, guys, you don't have to be so loud. Why do you have to be so aggro and everything? It's like we are tired. We are tired, guys. From the women in salons who will talk about their main problems, to us, to you guys here at colleges talking about, say, hey, Usman man, he's not treating me well and what have you. I don't know what to do. Or to us as normal women, busy phoning one another and saying what's setting up a date, having a bottle of wine or whatever, just to de-stress from what we have been given from men. It's hurtful. It's very hurtful. It's very, very hurtful. And you know, when we put out our cries, it's not for my. It's cries for years, from days, from months, from weeks. It's years. It's enough. And that's one thing that I had seen from my mom that I will definitely commend her on. Her strength, on the things that people had spewed to her. There were times where I was just literally like, you know what? Can we just go somewhere where we will not deal with all of this because it's unfair? And she said, no. Women do not back down from challenges. Women are fighters. And that's the one thing she's always instilled in me. She said, Mndela, no matter what, first of all, Zamantungwa, already that name itself is a force. So why are you allowing Ugusi, abanye abantu are going to take that away from you? Secondly, you cannot ever back down from what other people are throwing at you. They kick you down, you go back harder, you fight back, you don't give up. You make sure Ugusi, you fight with everything that you've got. And yeah, that's pretty much it on, you know, also my mom, my dad, my views on womanhood and everything like that. And yeah, like I was saying, I keep forgetting my dad. I just keep going in and out in terms of my dad. And how I actually, you know, the funny thing is, like, there's something that people, even my dad doesn't know about, but I'll give him props to this. My dad actually was the one who gave me a love for the media industry, because he I don't know if you guys used to listen to this, but because the FM has like stories, so this is from back in the days now, but because the FM has stories. My dad used to be a radio actor back in the day. And he would play, but there was this one role he had, and he played the role of an abusive husband, right? And the way that he was so good at it, we had just moved into our second home. We have always been at Kwandingesi. It's just that we were just moving we are just allocated to a different part of Kwandingesi. And this one lady, just went past the house, and then I think she had just called my mom, and then just like, and mom was like, what are you on about? And she's like, no, but like, we ask now and she will say I'm a doctor and everything like that, because she abuse and everything. She's like, what are you on about? She's like, no, Pella, you know, if you're so good as an actor that you convince people that you are that character, people start questioning. Exactly, it's hard to separate. And that's what had happened to my mom, because people were like, are you okay? You don't need anything, that type of thing. And my mom was like, no, get right and whatever. So from then on, I remember like sometimes like my dad had a lot of like media industry friends and what have you. And sometimes they'd like invite us to events and whatever. And I'm like, okay, I like everything about it. And at first I wanted to be like an actress, you know, just be in a soapy and what have you. But I was like, hey, it's not for me, you know, do singing. I was like, it's not for me. And then I just found out, because you know what, I can actually be behind the scenes and do something behind the scenes in terms of like PR and what have you. And that's where like, you know, varsity life came in, and I did PR at Varsity College, and then I went on to doing my honors at Vega, and hence why it you know, people always say, "Ama creatives, they're crazy," but people don't realize, it's through that craziness that they're able to create magic, you know, because the magic that people always are like, what is a creative? People don't appreciate creators, but creatives actually do run the world if you think about it. With your music, your books, your films, your even your podcast and what we're doing right now, it's magic. And it's what actually heals people, because sometimes when words fail, music comes through. When words fail, films come through. When words fail, books come through, you know. And that's why a lot of people don't, I think that's why they undervalue Ama creators, because they just think, no guys, we can do this. But the actual process of being a creative is the most frustrating thing ever. It really is, because it's just like, it's like baking a cake, but making sure it comes out as perfection at the end, you know. So that was it, Jay. I just got that. I got bitten from that media bug, and I've never actually looked back, because I've always seen myself in the media industry. I've always seen myself as a umuntu that works within the media industry, and there were times when like it didn't work out, and my parents would be like, "Nah, Zama, you know what? Do you not want to maybe do this?" And I'm like, this is not me. When a person is dead set on something, when I'm dead set on something, it's hard to change my mind. I remember this one time when like I was working. It was 2017, and for me, 2017 was my year of awakening. And it was the time when I was busy searching for savings, there was nothing going on. And you know those people that sell like your SIM cards like on the streets and what have you, or like your funeral policies? Yeah. I'd done that just for a day. I said, this is not me, I'm out. I did that for a day, and I was just like, I can't do this. I can't do this to myself. I can't punish myself like this, because at the end of the day, I know what I want, I know what I'm worth, but I'll get to where I need to be. And I broke down. 2017 was one of the hardest years for me. And the one thing, other than obviously having friends and foundation, but the one thing that I felt Uguti had helped me out through all of that, it's two social media platforms. It was Pinterest and it was Twitter. Reason being Twitter, I feel, is like one of the most realist platforms that there is. We have Black Twitter, and Black Twitter tells it like it is. And there's also that thing where we would say people don't have to put on a certain facade. Yes, we'll get our people here and there and whatever, but it's not like the other platforms where like you have to have money so that you can show that you're living. You know what I mean? Whatever you put up, that's it. And a lot of people relate to it. And that's why I felt with Twitter helped me out. It gave me that oomph I needed to revive myself and remind myself, I would say, oh, motherfucking Zamantungwa, nobody gonna tell me anything, you know? Pinterest, like I said to you guys before, I would say, when words fail, art will speak to you. And that's what Pinterest was to me. Pinterest to me was like my vision board. I would say, what is it that I envision for myself? What is it that I see a better, what is a better way that I see for Uzama? Like what is it that Uzama can do to, you know, make herself feel better, make herself envision what she's got everything in the world. There's an artist that a lot of people love, and I also love him because of the way that he makes you feel. And that's Rick Ross. Rick Ross, when you listen to his music, you literally envisioned filthy rich fur coats, the whole shebang. You've got chains on yourself, you've got Bentleys, you've got Jaguars, the whole shebang. And that's what Pinterest would do to me. It would let me be that diva. No one's gonna tell me anything, and I'm going to make sure that I make something better of myself. And Mndela, that's what I literally did. I would say step by step. Each year, yes, I would fall and then come back up. I've elevated myself to being a better person and being a better woman as well. You know, just making sure everything around me is great and it's pashash. Yeah.
So what are you currently doing now?
So now, currently, I am a music editor at Blaze On Magazine. So you guys had Alicia Zuma, co-founder of Blaze On Magazine, and she's also a very good friend of mine as well. We chat quite a lot, and what initially happened was that we actually met only last year. Funny enough, we met only last year, and we were working for Usandilenen for SA Bloggers. So SA Bloggers happened, and then there was a time where literally we had seen no, it's time to just depart and everything. And the one thing that I will always be very grateful to Sandy for, he opened my eyes to, okay, there's more to PR and everything like that, and these are the directions that you need to take. And he had given me that rope, and I was able to just like climb as much as I can. So SA Bloggers had happened, there was a bit of an issue, but we're just like, we've gone past it, we've all grown, and we all wish each other very well. And then Alice told me, Zama, listen, there's something called Blaze On Magazine, and it's still new, we're still going to give back feedback, and we're still going to give feedback on how is it that we can better it, and that's basically it, Jay. And we'll see as to what person can fit into where and what have you. And I was like, girl, I'm keen, I'm happy, let's do the things that need to be done. Anything to build up that name, anything to build up that portfolio, let's do this. I will not lie, guys, the first few months weren't easy because number one, you had people that did not exactly gel with a new team, and understand where the direction of everything was going, and this is the thing that people need to understand. When you have people that are just like full steam ahead, it's hard to stop them. It's very hard to stop them. It's hard to stop their direction. It's hard to be like, listen, but they will be like, literally, this is what's going to happen now, and this is how it's going to happen, So first few months was a bit difficult because like we put in our ideas and we're just like, okay, no, this is how we envision Blaze On Magazine. This is how Blaze On Magazine is going to work. Bit by bit, people literally were just like, nah, this is literally, when we like mix it with saying, Spanban has left the chat. That's literally what happened. That's literally just what happened. People bit by bit, people had left the chat and everything like that. And the one criteria that, well, not criteria, but the one quality that I feel needs to be emphasized quite a lot. Durban creatives are the most hardworking people ever. If you are Durban freaking creative, do not ever underestimate yourself. Do not ever underestimate your worth. This is no diss to the other provinces, but there's some certain quality that Durban creative has that it attracts quite a lot of people. And when the frustrating thing was that when we were on the momentum that we were going at, quite a lot of brands would invite us to Johannesburg. We would get Johannesburg events and we'd be like, damn it, man, why are we not at Johannesburg, fam? Like, why are we not at Johannesburg? And we knew, if we were in Johannesburg, we'd be those people. We'd be those people living at large, having our own theme song, having our own reality show, that whole shebang. And we're just like, bruh, but our time hasn't arrived. We need to first still earn our stripes, get to where we need to be, and then, we're gonna set off. Now in Mndela, that's what happened. We built our name. Brands would even be like, are there any other people that you can refer us to because you guys are too dope at what you do? That's how legitimately amazing we were, because brands would actually say those type of things. And the frustrating thing about brands coming to KZN, they would hit us first and be like, we don't know any people. We don't know any people, just know you guys. And we need other people to come on and everything like that. But it's like, can't you just take us back to Johannesburg? Can't we just go with you guys, But yeah, back to the point that I was saying, when it comes to German creators or KZN creators, you can't. There's a certain magic you can't take away from them. There's seriously a certain magic. I was at a listening session with one of my favorite artists, almost I love it because he's very authentic with the sound. You know, I love artists that are authentic with their sound. They're authentic with the lyrics. They're authentic with basically how they are. And he was just basically saying, Ubutsi, you know what? I may travel all around the world, but when I'm back here at home, in Pangi, KZN, no one can touch me. No one can say jack shit to me. We're one of the most hardworking people ever, but people don't recognize the magic that we have. You know, I did the whole spiel of going up to Johannesburg, yes, doing what I needed to do, but there is literally no place like home. You guys don't realize, Ubutsi, he's a musician, he was like, you guys as musicians, you guys don't realize, Ubutsi, the sounds that you are hearing from the world, they're freaking taken from Africa. They can even take it from KZN. And you guys don't appreciate the gems that you have. Literally, all I'm doing is just mixing and just adding sort of like ad-libs, it sounds like I'm breaking in between. But, why is it that you guys don't appreciate what you have? Why is it that you guys don't respect the crafts that you have? You guys are looking outside, looking at people outside for inspiration, whereas you should be sitting in here, looking inside here. And I was just like, are we not in church today? Preach it, brother. You know? And I was like, yeah, no, definitely. And that's something that personally I've always tried to do. Would say, if I can inspire for anything, that's fine with me. I'm fine with that. I'm happy with that because it means we would say someone is actually taking what I'm saying seriously. And I find that as being hilarious because I talk a whole lot of crap sometimes. But there's someone that's like, you know what, I actually, validate what Zama is saying because I feel it and I resonate with it, And for us also as Black women, our time to shine is now. Like, it's right now. Is right now. We may not be at the places that we want to be, but I wish we're not gonna get there. I wish we're not worth it. I wish we're not valued enough for it. One thing I've learned in my life, when other people don't value you, you've got to dust yourself and you've just got to be that bitch and be like, listen, I'm gonna do me. I'm gonna make sure that people see me as a boss. There was a Netflix documentary that I definitely resonated to, and the one thing I've learned also about I've learned many lessons, but the one thing that keeps popping out about the industry, in any industry to be quite honest, but more predominantly media, is that people need to realize that there's more power behind the scenes than on the scenes. Because when you're working behind the scenes, you're the one that calls the shots. When you're working behind the scenes, you're the one that dictates, how is it that you want to envision a picture? And who is it that you would want to be included in the picture as well? So, there's this man called Clarence Avant, if I'm not mistaken. He's basically the Black Godfather. So, what he did was that he basically was like, you know what? I see, yes, okay, people are working on the scenes and whatever, but the power's behind the scenes. So he was the reason why, like, your Diddy's are the reason why they're out of jail and what have you, because he told them, he's like, my guy, listen, if you're gonna continue busy fooling around, who's gonna take you seriously? Let alone as a Black person, who's gonna take you seriously? Who's gonna take you seriously? He's the reason why a lot of sports stars are able to even get endorsements and brand deals. And let me emphasize Black stars, Black sports stars, how they were able to get endorsement deals. Because he was just like, I need to make sure that my people are fed. I need to make sure, if I have the key, let me open up for Abanya Band, let me open up the avenues for Abanya Band. And that's how I've always felt that I am. If I have the opportunity to be like, you know what, fam, listen, there's this 1, 2, 3 that's going on. Why not? Why not? Because people are just always like, you know what, Zama, you're not gonna get you're not gonna get your shine, you're not gonna get where you need to be or what you need to get and everything. And I'm like, if it's not my time, it's not my time. you never know how a person is going to help you. And I know you shouldn't have that mentality, but sometimes it helps. We would say, you know what, I've at least opened a door for LSC. I've at least opened a door for Uzam. I've at least opened a door for Usman Ban at the end of the day, because you don't know, by you helping another person, how you are uplifting that person's life. You know, and that's one thing.
Yours.
Sorry?
Even
yours, because you know, it's a lot of people don't like saying this, but sometimes when you're kind to people and when you're helping people, it actually does make you feel great. It really, really does. And that is sometimes I see it as a flaw, but I see it as a strength. I've got a big, open and kind heart to help abanye abantu and everything like that. Up until then, you try me. Then I'm like, listen, I'm from the hood, honey. Don't even try me. So yeah, like I said, he literally inspired and helped out a lot of people. Even the people that came onto that show, your Jamie Foxx, your Quincy Jones, your Diddy's, they spoke so highly of him. And here's a man that literally is working behind the scenes, pulling Amma strings to make sure the black stars and black representation that we see today, it was through him. And that was basically his vision. If I can try and create a small change, it will probably have a domino effect, which will make such a big, beautiful picture at the end of the day.